Hello, hello, hello. So this has been a crazy week. Let me bring you up to speed on what's been going on here. So last week I was contacted by a client of mine that I've written for before, and they were like, hey, Christa, what are the chances that we can hire you to write 3 webinars for us by next Wednesday? And I was like, and I really like this client. So I was like, okay, yes. So I have really been dialing in on, let me turn up my volume just in case. I've really been dialing in on time management this week. Obviously my time study is still going on. And so I have just been nose to the grindstone pushing out these 3 webinars for one client. Really, they're filming next Saturday and I'm super excited for them to have these new webinars to put out to their audiences for their training program. But I was thinking as I was writing this week, and my content for my blog and my social media is talking about offers. So last week we talked about 6 things you must know about the target audience in order to write killer copy that converts. And the audience, though, although they're a huge, very, very important part of the whole thing, they're not the only part, right? Because we also have to consider the offer too. The offer is the thing that we want to connect the target audience with in order to produce a result for our clients, customers, and clients. That's saying clients a lot in one sentence, but it's okay. Just hang with me. So there's actually 6 things that you need to know about the offer as well before you write, in order to be able to sit down and pound out that super engaging killer copy that converts. So today I'm just going to talk about 3 of them, and next week I'll talk about the second group of 3 because they're really, really good and I don't want to just speed through them. And I'm going to tell some stories too, which is always a favorite. So let's talk about 3 things that you need to know about an offer before you write. All right. So the reason why I started thinking about this was because I was remembering a coaching call that I was on a couple years ago with one of my mentors, and she was talking about the power of persuasion when it came to selling. Of course, that's right up my alley because it's what I do every day. And in the middle of the call, she picked up a pen on her desk and said, okay, guys, let's practice this. Sell me this pen. And everybody on the Zoom call was kind of like, gulp, right? You know, here she is, this queen of social media, very well versed in sales. Nobody wanted to go first. And it's obviously she's not the first person to drop the sell me this pen line. If you've seen the movie The Wolf of Wall Street with Leonardo DiCaprio about the life of Jordan Belfort, you'll see him in a scene like that demand that one of his marketing experts sell him the pen. And it just, you know, gives it as an illustration. I've heard copywriters use that as an illustration before too. So the idea of being able to pick something up and run with it and create a sales message around it on the fly is super important. So I said, okay, I'll do it. So I picked up a pen off my desk because it just felt weird to try to sell one without one nearby. And I waved it around, you know, in front of the webcam a little bit. And I said, I thought a second about who she was, and I thought a second about how to connect her with that pen. And I said, okay, imagine you're standing on a street corner waiting for the light when Oprah Winfrey comes walking up next to you. And at that moment, I could see her mouth kind of twitch because she knew I had her number. Like, Oprah is, you know, she's huge. Would my mentor like to meet Oprah Winfrey? Yes. Yes, she would. So I've got her number and she kind of knows where this is going, right? So obviously Oprah is huge. She's bigger than life. And this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. So you take a deep breath and you say hello. And instead of ignoring you or just pretending like you're not there, she actually greets you back and you guys start up a conversation. And by the time the light changes, you've dazzled her with all of your social media marketing knowledge. And although she's on her way out to catch a flight to LA, for some awards banquet or show or whatever. She wants to continue the discussion later. So she turns to you and says, let me give you my number. Stop the presses, right? Oprah Winfrey wants to give you her cell phone number. And so immediately you drop everything and you start frantically searching through your pockets, and you search through your laptop bag and your purse and your coat, and you cannot come up with a pen. And the seconds are ticking by frantically. And as you look up to stammer out that you don't have a pen and ask her if maybe she has one, she's already waving at you from across the street as her Uber pulls up, and she says, maybe next time. She hops in the Uber and drives away. So, you know there won't be a next time, right? You had one chance and you didn't have a pen. So, want to buy mine? I think I got the slow clap on that one. She was like, bravo. Like, that is the type of situation that you want to meet your target audience with in order to create that overwhelming need for the item in question. When it comes to being able to sell anything to anybody, you have to know, this is so funny. Ooh, excuse me. So, this is going to sound funny, but it's true. When it comes to being able to sell anything to anybody, there are certain things you have to know about certain things. And for one, you have to know who you're selling to, which we covered last week in last week's live Friday training. So go back and watch it if you didn't have a chance to watch the 6 things you must know about your target audience before writing killer copy that sells. But you also need to know about the offer itself. Because if the offer doesn't connect with the buyer, it's just going to collect literal and figurative dust, right? Like in this article, so in this rundown today, in this training, and you can get a full breakdown of it too in my most recent blog article on my website. We're going to talk about 3 things that you should know about the offer. And these 3 things are key to being able to attract attention and capture and captivate them. Next week, we're going to go over 3 more things, and that'll round out our series on what you need to know before you write. So, first of all, the first thing you need to know about the offer before you write isn't specifically about the offer. What do I mean by that, right? Like, hey, Christa, I thought we were talking about the offer here. How can the first thing about the offer not be about the offer? Well, it's not directly about the item or offer that's being sold, but it is about the brand, okay? Brand voice has a huge impact on any type of communication that's being given out there, on any offer anywhere. Brand voice, I describe that as the unique way of communicating by a brand anytime they put out information about their products and services, what they're doing, how they communicate with the exact people they're selling to. That all plays into brand voice, and it's a very important piece of marketing, and it's very important for you as a copywriter to really have a good grasp on what your client's brand voice is so that you can put pieces of that into the copy so that the audience is getting a consistent even impression of what's going on anytime they see you show up anywhere. So let's talk about the power of branding, right? I mean, we all recognize those big brands. You know, you've got McDonald's and Nike and Mattel, and you've got Quaker Oats, you've got Bud Light. I mean, we can list off hundreds and hundreds of big brands that are immediately recognizable just by maybe even a single phrase. So McDonald's, for instance, their slogan, I'm loving it. You see the golden arches and immediately you start humming, do 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 do, I'm loving it. And now it's in your head for the rest of the day, right? It's fast, it's catchy, it's personal, I'm loving it, and it's accessible. So even just that little piece of brand language, brand voice, is a great way to attract the type of audience that's looking for fast, accessible, personal connection through food that they eat. All right, so let's think about Nike, right? Their signature swoosh logo gets paired with just do it. And these just 3 words, these determined, focused, active, and driven words, immediately tell you that you're talking to high performers. You're talking to people who are movers. You're talking to people who are in it for the competition to get best results. So just so immediately recognizable, right? So what happens if McDonald's or Nike start trying to market to different audiences outside of their, ideal clients and customers, and they start trying to use their same brand voice? Okay, so let me paint you a picture. Okay, so think about a McDonald's commercial where you're in a high-rise luxury restaurant and a businesswoman in a tasteful 3-piece suit and her Tiffany necklace and her designer glasses sits down at a shiny glass table, and the waiter sets down in front of her Big Mac and her Coke and her fries, right? You would not expect that whatsoever, and it's just not going to resonate, right? McDonald's target audience is not your professional career woman. You're not going to find McDonald's food being served at a 5-star Michelin restaurant. It's going to flop, right? An ad like that is just not going to resonate because the brand voice does not match. It's just not speaking to people outside of their target audience, and that's okay. You want to have a unique brand voice that's almost repellent to the people you're not trying to serve. Because the sooner you can get your messaging and your copy in front of the people who are the exact best fit for it, the better results you're going to get. You're going to have quicker results. It's going to be cheaper because you're targeting directly in, and the brand voice is kind of operating as a filter to help sift people into the right buckets and push the people who are not a good fit for the offer out of it. So just like Nike is not going to do a great job of taking their just do it slogan and high performance marketing and targeting gamers who live in their mom's basement and play Call of Duty 24/7, and that, just another example of how it's okay for brand voice to attract some and repel others, but you can't do it well with copy if you don't know what the brand's voice is. So before you write, do a deep dive into the brand voice. What type of messaging are they putting out? What do their audiences respond to the best? Only then can you put out a consistent brand messaging experience that matches the experience that they're getting across all the channels and continue to magnetize the right people to the offer that you're selling. All right, so the second thing, let's move on to number 2. You have to know exactly what's included in the offer and why. All right, so let me give you an example of this. Our family recently got a new car. We got a 2021 Toyota 4Runner. Now, I'm more of a mobile office kind of girl. I don't drive much, but my husband had been studying this vehicle for years. We previously owned a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and Janice the Jeep was great. Like, she ran well, met our needs, had enough space for our stuff, but there were a few things that just were not a good match. She just couldn't live up to when you placed it side by side with the 4Runner. So my husband was fully prepared to be a 4Runner owner. And the minute we got it home, he sat down with the owner's manual and he programmed everything. He got familiar with all the features and benefits. He learned where the gauges were and the dials and what everything did on the touch screen. And me, on the other hand, though, not so much. I don't have time to sit down and go through the owner's manual. In fact, I have no desire to go through the owner's manual. It bites me in the butt every time, though, when I don't sit down and research what's included in the thing I have. So, for example, I get in the car the other day and it's 40 degrees and I'm looking all over, looking where I looked before on Janice the Jeep, and I do not see the seat warmer button. Honey, where's my seat heater? Where's my seat heater button? Okay. So I sit down to drive, I get on the interstate, and suddenly I realize I don't know where the cruise controls are. Lovely. And what the heck are the windshield wipers doing right now, right? If I'm not prepared with what my features are and how to use them and why they're there, I'm gonna have a really hard time feeling like I want to get in and drive the forerunner, right? And that's how people feel about our offers a lot. They don't automatically know and understand what's included in the offer and why. And so we have to communicate that to them. As the sales copywriter, it's our job to know all of the things that are in there. It's our job to be able to know why they're there so that we can break that down and make it clear and simple when it comes to helping the audience member be able to take that next step with us. So please, 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 as a sales copywriter, show up more like my husband did with the forerunner. Know what's included, know what all the bells and whistles are, and know why. Know what it's going to do for your target audience member, how it's different and unique from, the Jeep you used to drive, and know how it becomes an exact fit for what your target audience member needs. That way, you can patiently explain it in your sales copy when there are questions. It's super important for being able to break down sales objections, for being able to draw out that unique selling proposition so that your offer stands out. If you can't sit down and explain the offer, what's included, how it works, what it does, then you shouldn't be writing about it yet, right? The offer will come off as unclear to the buyer, and they'll go find something else that can break it all down for them so that they feel safe and secure in investing in what is being offered. All right, so the last thing I want to break down today is something that I think is super fun. Like, I get super fun and nerdy about this, okay? Because this is really where you can get very specific and call things out. So you have to know how the offer is different from the competition. Before you write, if you really want to drive those sales conversions, you have to know what makes your offer different and unique and be able to compare and contrast it with the other similar offers out there about it. Okay, so there's this crazy thing that happens in any industry when everyone tries imitating everyone else. So there's always going to be like this brand leader, and there's going to be copycats. People are going to want to reproduce the results that someone else has had. But the minute they start mimicking and reproducing and not standing out as unique and different, then it becomes a race to the bottom in terms of price. Because what other differentiator is there if everyone's copying everyone else, right? And that is pretty much going to cue the death of the offer. And I'm not kidding. It's that serious. So as service providers, think of it in terms of your services, your hourly rate. If you can't describe why your services are valuable and above and beyond and the perfect fit for your clients, then you're going to be competing on price alone, and that's going to burn you out. A race to the bottom in terms of price is a lose-lose for everyone, even for your competition. Well, maybe not so much for the competition, because if they're maybe not quite as much, but it's definitely a lose for you. It's definitely a lose for your clients. So you really have to put time and energy into researching and developing when you write so that you can zero in on how your offer is different and unique from the competition. If you can't communicate that, then by default, the only differentiating factor is price, and that's bad. You don't want to end up in that position, but don't worry. There's a pretty simple exercise that you can use before you start writing to help identify and break down and communicate the offer's unique selling points. It takes a little bit of time, but it's not difficult, and you'll be so glad you did it. So first, you're going to put your detective hat on, and you're going to go online. I want you to go looking for that offer's competition. What are they offering? How are they doing it? How are they marketing it? Who's their target audience? What colors and words and phrases are they using? Then make a list of the features and benefits of the offer itself and read the reviews. Reviews are a goldmine of information because you can see what the most common complaints and highlights about the offer are. I always recommend reading the midline reviews. So if it's a 5-star, read the 3 and 4-star reviews, because you're always going to have the people who are super hyped and super fans, and they're not always going to be the most objective. And then you're always going to have the people who complain and, you know, are always negative about everything. They are also not going to be that objective. So aim for the middle ones, aim for the middle reviews. You'll be able to see what people are saying about that competitor's offer. So those are the things that you want to zero in on in terms of filling in the gaps as far as what's different and unique about your offer. Because if you can solve a problem that's common with the offer of your competition, then you're going to stand out and you're going to be able to draw attention to you instead of the competition, because you have something that they don't. So when you can clearly communicate the differences between your offer and the competition's, it creates contrast and it bumps up that unique new factor, and something really cool happens. It makes your buyer want your offer more. And it's scientific. Here's how it works. When your brain is exposed to new and different things, it releases a chemical called dopamine. Dopamine makes people feel motivated and intrigued. They want to know more. They want the new thing. Nothing else will do. And that's exactly where you want your buyers. That's why you need to understand the differences between your offer and the competition and be able to describe what makes your offer new and different and unique, because you want that dopamine effect. If you can't, then you'd better be prepared to charge less, and that's not a great situation for you. The competition is going to win in that case. So these before you write tips are going to help you really dial in on pieces of information that are going to give you the knowledge you need in order to sit down and create sales copy that converts like crazy. Next week, I'm going to bring you 3 more, but we're already getting a little bit long here, so I didn't want to overwhelm the system. But so don't forget how important brand voice is. You want to create that consistent experience across the board on all channels for your clients so that it attracts the right people to you and repels the wrong people. You also need to understand what's included and why, because if you can't answer questions in your copy, you won't be able to break down those sales objections. You're not going to be able to help things stand out and meet your audience where they're at and walk with them to the offer. And also, you've got to be able to compare and contrast your offer with the competition. You have to be able to help the unique, different, unusual features of your offer stand out so that it's not just a race to the bottom in terms of price. Have a great day, guys. Have a wonderful weekend. We are headed into prom weekend here. So we're going to be doing a lot of running around. There's going to be a lot of glitter, a lot of self-tanner, also some gel nails. It's going to be pretty awesome. I will post some pictures when the Princess Prom Queen is ready. So actually, I shouldn't say that. Lexi is like the opposite of your high maintenance princess, but she is going to look so beautiful. Have a great weekend, guys. Bye.